Hello YouTube, Dan in Jonesboro back again. And the title of this video or subject matter is simply numbers. N-U-M-B-E-R-S, numbers. And what do I mean by numbers? Basically, when I attended the inauguration of President Barack Obama, I was astounded at how much poverty existed in Washington, D.C. first off. And I kept seeing these tags when I was in the D.C. area, around Baltimore, you know. But the tags in D.C. said taxation without representation. And I took that to heart, and I said I wanted to really find out exactly what these tags meant. So I did, and I won't go into that. I'll do that on another video. But what I want to talk about today is not even a black or white issue. It is at the core, but basically it's a natural process to look out for one's own. It's just natural. And that goes to the saying of majority rules. If a majority rules, they are going to look out for the party that makes them the majority. Simple and plain. When majority rules, they can exclude everyone else or just sprinkle in token numbers to make it seem like there's a air of fairness or transparency, but in actuality the house always wins. And I want to go back to, and I'm speaking of the modern era, not Reconstruction time, pre-Civil War, post-Civil War. I'm not talking about the era. I'm talking about the modern era, say 1969 and up. Let's look at African American president. There's never been one in the modern era, and there's still not one in the modern era. And let me clarify that, because until there is a president in the White House that has slave blood in him, then we still don't have a black man in the White House that can represent our struggle, meaning the disenfranchised black man in America. Which is fine. Let's just accept it as a reality. We are disenfranchised. And I'm not saying because we're black. We're disenfranchised because we simply don't have the numbers. Okay? And that's as natural as breathing air. You're not going to get represented by someone that does not belong to your group. That's just political fanfare if they say, I'm going to speak for you, because it has never happened and it never will. So, we got Barack Obama. For all intents and purposes, and I don't want to offend anybody, let's just call him the first black president, okay? Even though his father was African and his mother was white American, even though the white Americans don't want to claim him. So what does that tell you about the state of relations in America? Why can't he be a white president? Because it goes back to the 132nd rule of, if you got a little bit of black blood in you, you are a Negro. And people can say, oh, that's not how I think. Well, why the hell don't you say he's white then? Let's just be honest, people. Why don't you say that Barack Obama is a white president? Because he's got black blood in him. So let's not fool ourselves. If we want to be candid with each other and be adults about the situation, let's be honest with each other, because there could be no dialogue without honesty, first off. So I try and be honest in my dialogue with anybody that I come across. I try and be honest. So let's just be honest. So we've knocked out the presidency. Okay. In the modern era, never a vice president that was African American or of slave blood. And let me stipulate, I'm saying slave blood now. Slave blood, meaning the people that were transported from the motherland, Africa, to America in slave ships via the transatlantic slave trade, repatriated to this country, worked as slaves, sharecroppers, oppressed people, finally got some freedoms in the 50s, right to vote in 1965, okay, all these things. I'm talking about these people, okay? So, let's go to the Supreme Court of the justices in the modern time, right now, currently. 1, Clarence Thomas. And if anybody knows anything about Clarence Thomas, I don't even have to elaborate on him or his lack of representing. And I understand he's a Supreme Court justice. He has to represent everyone. I understand that. I understand that. But nobody said anything when he wanted to speak out against affirmative action. See, if he ever spoke out to represent his black people, then it would be a problem. But if it's something to hinder or hurt his black people, everybody's with that. So I need to say no more about Clarence Thomas. Okay, so let's go to the highest lawmaking body in the land, which makes executive laws. Well, they don't make executive laws. The Congress and the Senate, okay, they form laws, put them together, send them over to the other side of the House. They approve it. The president signs off on it. If one of the members of Senate are absent, then the vice president steps in and breaks the tie of 100. Okay, we know this. Should know this. But let's go with the numbers. Okay? 435 members of the House of Representatives, encompassing the Republican side and the Democratic side. Right now, the breakdown is 243 Republicans and 192 Democrats to make up 435 total representatives. And if you know anything about politics, okay, the representatives are chosen by state. Some states have more based on the population. California has an extremely high amount of representatives, whereas a state like Alabama might not have as many as California because of the population difference. So we know this. So we have the gist of how that's done. Okay, so out of 435 representatives, how many black representatives do we have in the U.S. Congress? Not 100, not 200, not 75, not 50, not 45. We only have 20. 20 United States representatives. Black representatives that oftentimes don't even speak for black people, but that's another issue altogether, another video. Okay? Because number one, most of the time in the states where these representatives are chosen from, the black vote does not get them in office. Just like it did not get Barack Obama in office, because right now there has never been a state in the United States of America that has a population that's majority black. And it never will happen. Not if we keep aborting 1,500 black babies a day in America. But another video. So, oftentimes, these representatives have to reach across the aisle. Well, not oftentimes, all the times they have to reach across the aisle. Make promises to certain groups that will get them elected. So we have 20. Okay? In the Trayvon Martin case, you have 4 representatives that are African American from Florida that are currently in Washington, D.C., you know, making laws, voting on laws. Okay, 4. The one that you've seen lately is Miss Corrine Burns. You know, nice grandmotherly type lady. And she's been very vocal about the Trayvon Martin case. Okay, fine, she's a Democrat. The other one is, that's out front in the media a lot, is Allen West. He's a Republican from Florida. And these are things that people from Florida should know. I'm not from Florida, but I still know about Allen West because he's ex-military, and so am I. He was a colonel. So anyway, Allen West is a Republican that joined the Congressional Black Caucus, which is basically a Democratic lobby group, but he joined it to sort of break it up from their monolithic ideology that black people can't do anything. Black people are the victims. Basically, he joined the Congressional Black Caucus to sort of stir the pot. Okay, and it probably won't be for the benefit of anybody that's African American, because there again, he had to reach too far across the aisle to get elected. We have to understand, people, the people that send these black officials to office, for all intents and purposes, are not black. They are good people with good intentions, some of them not good. But we have to understand something. A majority has to send you to DC. So we're at the House, we're past that. Congress, you know, I did the breakdown. 435 of that number, only 20 African Americans. So you see where I'm going with this, right? Now, let's go next door to the Senate. United States Senate now. Not your state senators, United States senators. Meaning the big boys. You know, the ones that go into the United States Senate broke and come out multimillionaires. There are 100 United States senators. Now, can you tell me how many black United States senators there are, or African American? Let's be politically correct. How many African American United States senators are there? You thinking about it, right? Well, you know what? Don't hold your breath, because if you was thinking, I don't know, your answer was right, because there aren't any. Zero. Goose egg. There are no United States senators on the Hill that are of African American descent. Not a one. Now you have to understand something. These are people that have the president's ear all the time. In his face all the time. Have his ear right next door. Have sit downs with him. Go in office with him. Do backdoor deals with him. Now think about it now. So let's elevate our minds. It's not about racism now, even though we know that element does exist. It's just about majority rules. It's about you speak for the people that you represent. So you do the math. You do the math.